Partial Breakaway Podcast with your hosts Nick and Junior and producer Vince, bringing you elite fantasy hockey information to help you win your fantasy leagues and win at life.
How's it going, fellas? The first team of our team previews, baby.
First team. Hopefully that intro recorded because I'm still seeing mute on our computer. But anyways,
no, that's fine. That's just for sound coming out of the computer. But
oh my God, Nick, you worry too much.
I do worry.
All right,
worry.
So
yeah.
Before we introduce our guest, because we do have a guest.
We
right?
do have a guest today. Is the John Tavares first of all of episodes?
It is the John Tavares, number 91 of episodes.
Starting off the new season strong, Vince.
Yeah, just to give the listeners insight, this is how we're going to structure our team previews. We're going to have an intro and team overview, roster and lineup breakdown, goaltending outlook, power play and top scorers, breakouts, sleepers, busts, prospects to watch, and lastly, season predictions and our favorite, the hot takes. So without further ado, shall we, guys, introduce our Carolina Hurricane guest? He is 1/3 of the Surgecast, the voice that has the Hurricane fans surging to their audio platforms. Without further ado, Zach Moose Martin. How's it going, Zach? Welcome to the Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast.
No, thanks for the invite, guys. It's always good. You know, it's got that nice music going, gets you pretty pumped up, ready to go. And yeah, man, ready to talk hockey. So thanks for the invite, guys. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. You know what? Let's start by telling the listeners who you are, what you do, and where they can follow along.
Yeah, of course. I'm actually a credentialed AHL writer covering the Carolina Hurricanes at the Hockey Writers. Like you said, I'm also the founder and one of the co-hosts of the Surgecast here at the Hockey Podcast Network, and I'm also the host of Locked On Hurricanes. And you can find me at #OneTrueZach on X, and then I'm also at LO_Hurricanes when it comes to the Locked On, and of course the Surgecast and all podcast platforms and all that good stuff. So. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
We have somebody that's actually accredited here, so it's going to bring some credit to this podcast because we're a bunch of amateurs.
It was a long journey for me to come from like starting a podcast in 2022 to where I'm at now. So trust me, guys. Hey, you got to start somewhere. So
congratulations to you, by the way. So that's nice. All right. So much has happened this offseason and to end the year, the second half of last year, the Carolina Hurricanes, and that's just saying a lot, actually. So just give us a quick take, an overall take on the team heading into the season. Are they trending up? Are they trending down? Are they stuck in the middle a little bit? Just to give you an idea here, in our group chat, I kind of like sent a message to them saying, I have a feeling that the Carolina Hurricanes are walking on thin ice in terms of close to like a possible collapse. And what I mean by that is, at what point do they get fed up of Brendan Moore's system not being enough to get them over the hump? I think the players there are good, but at some point are they just going to get annoyed of not getting over that second round hump? So tell us, what's the take going into the season from your perspective, from the Hurricanes fans' perspective? And are they trending upwards still?
Oh, yeah. No, I still think they're very much trending upwards. And I mean, you know, you're talking about a team that made it to the Eastern Conference Final when a lot of people thought that they were going to be a wild card team or missing the playoffs. So in terms of Brendan Moore being on the hot seat or on thin ice, that's far from the truth. I don't see them getting rid of a guy who's fastest to win 300 games. You know, one of the most consistent coaches that's taken them to the playoffs 7 straight years, 7 straight first-round wins. I mean, if you look at before this current run, they made the playoffs 5 times when they relocated in 97 to when Brendan Moore took over. And that's 10 years of not making the playoffs. So I don't – and the thing is, like, a lot of people compared the Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers to play the same system. It's just the Panthers had some other guys that just took it to the next level. So the system works. It's just there are some other assets of things that just didn't really go right in the Hurricanes' minds at that time. But, they have full confidence in Brandon Moore. And he just signed a 5-year contract before last season. So he's going to be in Carolina for a long time. But, yeah, definitely trending upwards, especially with all the additions they've had this summer.
If anyone was looking for a way to shut me up, I think that was it.
Well, I mean, I told you last episode you're absolutely wrong, and Zach agrees with me, and he's accredited. So hey,
So before we move on to more detailed takes here, but from a fantasy perspective, is this a team worth investing heavily in?
Oh yes, I would definitely say so. I mean, you look at guys like Sebastian Aho, power play goals, game winners, led the team in points last year, second team in goal scoring as well. I mean, you look at a guy who almost had 50 assists last year. I mean, you look at Seth Jarvis leading the team in goals with 32, and that's with missing 7 games last year due to re-aggravating his shoulder. Second on the team in points, had 5 shorties, shorthand goals last year, which tied Sam Bennett. So that's a good guy to have. If you're looking for a good defenseman that puts up some points on the board, and it helps power play points as well. Shane Gostisbehere, great addition there. If you're looking at a league that's maybe that does reward defensive defensemen, can't go wrong with Jacob Slavin being a guy who's
Stud.
he's a stud.
8 penalty minutes or less 3 years in a row. Can't go wrong there as well. Jalen Chatfield's a sneaky guy to have. I mean, I know we're going to talk about it later in the show, but hey, there could be a sleeper in Alexander Nikishin to see what he does. Keandre Miller in a new system, see what he can do. And even goaltending wise too, I think you're looking at some guys who, could sneak you some extra points and get you some wins. I know, especially with Pierre Kachekov, won 27 games last year for a career high. Can't go wrong with that too. So there's a good number of guys you can go look into this into the roster for the Hurricanes and place them on your fantasy teams. Just depending on how deep your leagues are and stuff like that, if it's dynasty or just one-off seasons and stuff like that.
Well, one reason why I felt that the team didn't have or is not on thin ice, like Junior was saying before, is that they've drafted so well. Guys like Seth Jarvis, guys like Jackson Blake, Svechnikov. Okay, there's been some question marks there, but he's still young, relatively young, right? And you guys have more guys coming up as well. So I just feel that even you're already a young team and you have more coming up. That's why I felt that, you're not going to see one of these teams that just the bottom falls out kind of thing. The record last year was another thing that I was looking at. 47 wins, 30 losses. What was that?
No, it's just the misconception that Carolina doesn't score because their system is more
That's it.
defensive. 9th in the league, 266 goals for, So it's just people just sometimes they get this old take that sticks with them forever, and they hear they're a forechecking team and they automatically assume that, hey, they don't score many goals. But look at that.
Yeah, we're boring. Yeah, that's all we heard all the playoffs.
Boring.
All this team's boring. I don't want to watch them in the playoffs. They're a boring team, but it's like, okay, well, it's just the Hurricanes know how to shut down another team to let them have 20 shots a game, and they can have 30 or 40 because they just outshoot them like crazy. They're always suffocating the other team. And hey, Florida did the exact same thing, but everyone praised them for it. It's just, it's that everyone just latched onto a take, and that's just what everyone runs with. So I laugh when I look at it. I'm like, obviously, you guys are only watching all these games, and other teams have done the exact same thing. It's just the Hurricanes are a team that will just absolutely bully you up and down the ice, and that's just what it really is. But if you're talking playoffs, but I mean, it's the playoffs. I mean, a lot of scoring goes down across the league. It's just, it's the Carolina effect. Everyone's like, whatever about those guys. That's what it seems like.
Well, they've added more pieces this year, so we're talking about a huge piece in Nikolai Ehlers coming in. You have a Stankoven for the full year this time. So these are things that are added to the roster. You mentioned Nikishin. Orlov is out.
Keandre Miller is in.
Keandre Miller is in. Nikishin is in, like I said before, and I keep repeating Nikishin because I own him, and I'm very curious to see what your take is going to be on him. But it feels like they haven't really lost. Seth Jarvis, no. Burns is out.
Brent Burns.
Brent Burns. But I mean, it's like the ghost of Brent Burns, right? The guy is 40 years old. He's still solid, but maybe on a bottom pairing or a lesser role last year.
Keandre Miller can do what Burns did and then some. So, I mean, it's an upgrade in itself.
And Orlov didn't really have a fantastic year last year either. So I'm just wondering, there's a lot of new additions. Who do you think this year will benefit from these additions? Who are the key fantasy forwards or defensemen that you think, and how do you think the lineups are going to shake out? I know that Brindamore kind of throws them in the blender quite often.
The blenders mainly if the team's not really doing a whole lot in the game and they might go there, but he usually tries to tend to stay with the same groups, especially on the defense. He hardly moved off the defensive pairings last year, unless it was like in the middle of the game and like, all right, we need to change something up real quick. Or in case of the playoffs, we saw some injuries and things just kind of got jumbled up. But Nikolai Ehlers is going to be a great addition. He's going to fit the system well. He brings in an extra dynamic that the Hurricanes really need for a guy who scores a lot of goals. But his nickname is Fly. He's going to fit in with a lot of guys who the Hurricanes do have some fast players, which is kind of an underrated thing that maybe a lot of people overlook. Is that this team's got some speed, so I think he's going to benefit really well, especially if he's like on that top line with Aho, Jarvis, maybe Aho and Svechnikov, depending on how that rolls out. Even for Keandre Miller, I know it's going to take him a little time to get used to the system. When you got Jacob Slavin, Jalen Chatfield, who's been there for the last few seasons, has gone to made himself a top 4 defenseman. Shane Gostisbehere is back for his second year, but it's like his second stint with the Hurricanes. Sean Walker got better as the season went along. He was a very underrated guy in the playoffs. So I think a lot of these additions are going to help out not just the guys who came in themselves, but the fact that you're also bringing in a lot of the guys who've been there and done that with this team. They'll help them move forward too. And talk about Logan Staycoven. You're looking at a guy who's like he's probably his first full season on one team. Where you look at 2 seasons ago, he's with the Texas Stars of the AHL and then the Dallas Stars, and then of course last year he gets traded at the deadline. Now he's going to get his first full season with one team, and he also just picked up a nice, very hefty contract on a very great annual average value, which you really can't hate on. Yeah. It's just fantastic. Yeah. And you talk about Nikishin. Nikishin's going into his last year for ZLC before he gets paid. And yeah, it's gonna be some growing pains. Because he's a 23 young guy, playing in North America for the first time in an actual long season. He only played in a few games in the playoffs. That was his taste of NHL. So they're looking through a whole preseason and training camp and all that. So it's gonna be some learning curves. But the Hurricanes love to draft Russians, so he's not going to be alone. At least he's got some countrymen with her that are going to help him out too. So, but yeah, there's a lot of exciting pieces and a lot of exciting things going down in Carolina for sure that I think people are really going to need to focus on this season.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Absolutely, like Seth Jarvis, I think is a mainstay on the top line. Ehlers is going to be. Yeah. Right. Ehlers is going to be somebody that's going to be in the top 6 for sure. I think. Who else do you think rounds up that top 6? Because we have players like Kotkaniemi, who has been struggling a bit and doesn't look like he's a 2C. But hey, there's quite a few teams out there that are missing 2Cs, so it's hard to fault Carolina on that. You mentioned Stankoven. Is he going to be solely on the third line? Because Daily Faceoff right now has him as a third liner. How do you see the top 6 kind of playing out there?
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at it, because I think a lot of people still think that the 2C does need to get addressed for the Hurricanes. Because the thing with Kotkaniemi is I think he'd be a great 3C. The problem is they still have Jordan Stahl for another couple of years, and he's technically their 3C. So it's like he's in this weird catch-22 of like he should be there, but they won't play Jordan Stahl, who's the captain, on the 4th line. So that's why. And the thing is, like, Kotkaniemi's not the bona fide 2C you want, but he's not really benefiting as the 4C. So he's in that weird spot. But you're looking at, I've seen people say Ehlers, Aho, Jarvis is your top line, or it's Svechnikov, Aho, Ehlers. I would say Jarvis Ehlers with Aho would be a great line to have. And then maybe you're looking at Taylor Hall and Andrei Svechnikov on the wings. Right. If they go with Kotkaniemi as the center. I could see that too. There's been some rumblings of maybe moving Seth Jarvis to a center. With his shoulder issues, I'm not really sure if they're going to go there, but Logan Stankoven has played center, and a lot of people are going to be like, well, juniors aren't the same, the AHL is not the same, but he did play some center for this. He did play some center for the Stars as well, and he's done it. And he's a right shot like Jarvis. And if they don't want to use Jarvis, that abuse his shoulder anymore, maybe you have a Hall, Stankoven, Svechnikov as your, second line behind Ehlers, Aho, Jarvis. I mean, there's a lot of avenues you can go down here, but I still think at least your top line, you have like 5 of the 6 spots. I think you're kind of like you're perfectly set for with Hall, Svechnikov, Ehlers, Aho, Jarvis. Is just what are you going to do there for the 2C? That's kind of the big question.
Do you think Jackson Blake has done enough last year to merit a top 6 spot?
I would say he has, because he did play a lot of top 6 last year. I know for the most part he was top line with, there was nights of, him with Aho and Jarvis, and it was him, Aho, and Svechnikov. He saw some second line as well with, when they brought Taylor Hall up and, putting Kakaniemi there too. I know towards the playoffs he kind of got shuffled down to the 4th line a lot. It's just with Ehlers coming in and who you already have in your top 6, I would love to see Jackson Blake get that time, but also too, Taylor Hall really thrived on that second line, and I just don't see the Hurricanes dropping to Svechnikov, Aho, or Ehlers past that top 6. So I think Blake is just in that weird spot of like, unless they throw Stankoven as the 2C, then I can see maybe Blake moving up to the 3rd line, because it seems like every young guy they've put it with the Jordans of Martinook and Stahl, that young guy gets really good with the Hurricanes. I mean, they've done it with Seth Jarvis. Now they're doing it with Logan Stankoven. Maybe it's a Jackson Blake, but I think Blake right now definitely would get top 6 minutes if they didn't have the top 6 they have now, where it kind of leaves him on the outside. But he's still a guy who can produce. I mean, he got 17 goals and 34 points going up and down the lineup and stuff like that for his rookie season. I mean, he showed a lot of people, hey, I don't have to go to the AHL. I'm going to play right now. And I mean, he was top 10 in scoring and top 10 in points for all rookies. So it's just, where do you kind of put him with where your top 6 is at right now, unless you have a different center that maybe opens up a spot. But
so it's fair to say that's the player that might move.
I think they have a backup in Jackson Blake that if anybody struggles in the top 6, that they can throw Jackson Blake in the top 6 and not fear that they're going to be underhanded, that he can do the job in the top 6. I think that's the way they'll...
Yeah, he's right on that bubble, right? Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. I totally agree. That's where I'm kind of thinking of it too, is if someone is kind of not having a great time or maybe just needs to give someone a break up there, throw Blake in, you're good to go. You're not stressing. You're not like, okay, now we're down a guy. It's like, nope, just throw Blake up there. You'll be fine. So totally agree with that.
Zach, goaltending, the auras of auras. Resigned Frederick Anderson. The poor man cannot stay healthy. Then you have Kochikov, who kind of had an up and down season last year, but still finished with 27 wins, if I'm not mistaken, last year. So is this going to be a 1A, 1B tandem? Is this going to be we're going with the hot goalie? And is there anybody in the minors that could maybe find a way through into the goaltending circular in Carolina?
Yeah. I'd say it's definitely going to be a 1A, 1B situation because, I mean, you're looking at probably one last year with Frederick Anderson in Carolina. Yeah, poor guy can't get a break. He got the blood clots 2 seasons ago. This last season he had a knee surgery that missed 30 games. Pierre Kachukov, gotta give the guy a lot of credit. I mean, you're looking at 24 and 27 wins in 2 seasons where he had to do most of the yeoman's work. And I think he did fine last year because the big thing is goaltending the issue. And for me, it was never the goaltending was the issue. It was the team in front of the goaltending that was mainly the concern throughout the most of the season. And I think if it wasn't for that LA Kings game where the Hurricanes just got lit up for 7 goals and they couldn't really take them out because it was on a first half of a back-to-back, I think that game kind of messed with them a little bit. 'Cause, I mean, everyone knows when a goalie gets shelled like that and they can't take him out, nothing goes his way. I think it kind of gets them a little bit. So, I mean, you look at a guy who got 27 wins career high, that's pretty dang good for the fact that he's got, like I said, you're looking at 51 wins in the last 2 seasons. You can't go wrong there. Yeah, the big question mark can Freddie stay healthy, and that's kind of what they're hoping for. But that's why they also traded a 7th rounder in 2026 to the Canadians. Thank you for that, by the way, for Kane Primo. Which, I mean, coming off a great year with the Laval Rocket, can't go wrong with that. Does he make it in? Well, he's the break glass in case of emergency situation, unless someone gets hurt. Then he's like, all right, automatically, all right, we're bringing him up. He's got the NHL experience. I know his numbers aren't the prettiest, but it's a very small sample size. And I mean, you guys know too, when he was up there, it's kind of like it's a tough situation for a goalie to be in the situation where he was at.
He didn't have the greatest team.
The team in front of him wasn't the greatest either. So
very young defense. Very difficult.
So that's where it's like take it with a grain of salt of those numbers, especially at that time. And then of course you got Amir Miftakov coming over from the KHL. He's more of like the 2 goalie down there, but Kane Primo is more of a, hey, someone's hurt, bring him up. There's your backup goalie.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's going to be a lot of Kochekov Anderson with a tandem type of deal.
For a 7th round, there's no risk in when getting Primo. So I think he's got some upside with a good insulation around him, which I think Carolina could give him. So in the goaltending, in the 1A, 1B, do you think they're going to start off with Frederick Anderson, or are they going with Kochekov off the bat?
I think if you're going to base off of what's going to happen going forward, because Anderson's going into his last year of his deal, under $3 million, great deal. But you're looking at Kochekov going into season 3 of his 4-year contract. It's only $2 million, and the hope is he's 25. He takes that next step to be the Hurricanes' number 1 goaltender moving forward. So I think if you're trying to benefit the present and the future of goaltending for this Hurricanes team, I think Kochekov has to be your 1A, because if you start him off as your 1B and still kind of flip-flop around and let Anderson play a lot of games, Kochekov gets better if you play him a lot more and plays consistently, rather than like he's sitting out a few games, gets in for 1, sits out a few games, gets in for 1, or maybe he gets a hot hand, they play him for a little bit, but then they sit him for a bit. If you're trying to be ready now and in the future and finding your number 1 guy, you have to go with Kochekov being that dude as your 1A starting out.
Yeah, I agree with that. You have to give the guy time on the ice.
It's like Zach said, he's 25. This is a goalie prime. A goalie prime is 25, 26. That's when they should be getting into their prime. Saros with Nashville was around this time. He got a shot and he became who he was. So I agree. I think you got to go with Kochekov, but you have a good blanket in Frederick Anderson if ever he starts to struggle.
Yeah.
Break glass in case of emergency, Caden Primo. I like that. I like that.
So, Zach, despite the 266 goals for, the Hurricanes were 25th in the league in power play percentage with the 18.75. It's funny because we spoke of Jackson Blake earlier, but the best quartet the Hurricanes had last year who scored 7 goals for them were Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, and Jackson Blake. Now, Jackson Blake, I'm assuming he's going to be off this first power play unit, replaced by Ehlers. So do you see this as an improvement, natural improvement just by addition of Ehlers, or are they switching up the system? Like, have they done any coaching changes maybe that the listeners should know about in terms of assistants or power plays? Or
no changes in terms of the coaching staff. Everyone's coming back. Philosophy is probably going to be the same, and maybe they do a few small changes here and there. The crazy part too is, though, you look what they did in the playoffs, Junior, over 10 goals. Like, okay, where was this in the regular season when they had 3 power play goals between January 1st and the start of the playoffs? 3. And they go and get 10 in the playoffs, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, where was this for like 4 months? But the crazy part was, though, in December, 10th in the league. They were actually top 10 at one point and then dropped to 25th.
So it's a consistency issue.
Yeah. November and December, what? When you play 500 hockey for November and December, and you just are winning 1, losing 1, winning 2, losing 2 consistently, yeah. February was just a bad month overall. We didn't play a lot of games because of 4 nations, but even then, 3 wins, yikes and a half. But It is what it is. But you bring in Ehlers, a great addition to the power play. I mean, you're looking at a possible power play one where it's going to be like Aho, Jarvis, Ehlers, Svechnikov, and Shane Gostisbehere. My absolute goodness, that's just a murderer's row. That's a murderer's row of a PP1. Then you look at a power play 2. You're probably looking at a Jalen Sheffield or an Alexander Nikishin as your one defenseman. Then you're looking at possibly Taylor Hall, Jackson Blake, Logan Stankoven. Maybe you throw a Jesperi Kotkaniemi there if you really want to go into that aspect, or maybe you throw a wild card in a Jordan Martinook, or maybe an Eric Robinson if you want to go there too, because he had a career year across the board for the Hurricanes and secured him a nice little $4 by $1.7 million contract for what he did in terms of goals, assists, and points in his best season ever. So maybe there's some extra wild card you can go there too. Still, even not a bad power play too, in all things considered. You've got some guys down there who can score. So yeah, you're gonna have a super heavy power play 1. But your power play 2 is gonna be a little scrappy, and there's gonna be some sneaky dudes who are gonna get you some goals as well. So I think the Hurricanes, even with moving Blake off that PP1 and putting him on the second unit, still looking pretty good, all things considered. When you kind of look at the optics and be like, dang, really solid first group. That second group could be very sneaky if they go against some very meh penalty kill 2 units. So. Yeah. And hopefully they turn it around, because can be 25th again, especially when you're going into the playoffs.
Well, fantasy fans are going to love it if they go better than 25th. Right. That's for sure.
And on paper, they have it. On paper, they have the tools to turn it around. It's just a question of putting it together.
And there's a possibility as well, right? A lot of NHL teams are using their second power play putting 2 defensemen on, because usually it's like the last 30 seconds or last 45 seconds of the power play. You kind of want to have that 2 defensemen already on the ice, so you don't have to do these changes on the fly in order to get more defensemen and get caught with a guy coming out of the box. So maybe Chatfield and Nikishin go there. You never know.
You never know.
And if you had to choose one dark horse that could earn a power play 1 spot, maybe not to start, but throughout the season, who should the listeners maybe be paying attention to or stashing with a possibility of earning that spot?
Oh, that's a good question, because, I mean, most of your top 6s are going to be there. If you asked me this 2 years ago, it'd be great, because I'd be like, oh, Stefan Nason, bottom 6 guy, put him on the power play, you're good to go. If there's a dark horse to possibly stash who may potentially get some power play time that's not in the top 6, or maybe it's not a Jackson Blake or a Stankoven, I would say look at Eric Robinson. He's got the speed, he's got the physicality. He did score some goals last year. So, I mean, it's probably a little bit farther down on the depth charts to have on your team. But if there's a dark horse that maybe could make some moves to get some time, I think Robinson could be that guy if you're looking at some forwards. Defense, it's kind of tough because, like I said, if it's Chatfield and Nikishin, and you're already set there, you're already set with Shane Gostisbehere. Maybe you're looking at a Sean Walker on the defense if you're really going into that aspect as well. But I'd say forward core is probably your best spot. I'd say go with Robinson if they're looking for a dark horse.
Yeah, last year we have the segment where we do a waiver wire pickup for fantasy, and Eric Robinson made us look good a few weeks.
Eric Robinson was a very nice selection for sure, especially that first part of the season when Martin Necas was still with the team. Those 2 guys were just absolutely just going off. So
so that's a great segue actually to our next question, and that is, who are your breakouts? Who's a possible person that could be a top breakout candidate for this team for this year?
Look at Stankoven, 100%. I mean, you look at the guy who had a really great year last year. I mean, it was 19 games with the Hurricanes after the trade deadline. Got 5 goals, 9 points. Playoffs, I mean, 5 goals, and I think it was 8 points in 15 playoff games. He went absolutely off in that Game 4 win against the Panthers in the Eastern Conference Final. If you're looking for a guy who's ready for some just straight-up stability with one team the whole season, who I think could hit a 50-point season, give me Logan Stankoven. I think he'll be the absolute breakout. And another guy to look at, Jackson Blake. 17 goals, 34 points in his rookie season. I think he takes that step next year too. 45, maybe 50 for Blake as well. Can't go wrong with Stankoven or Blake. Those are my 2 guys that I would say keep these guys on the lookout. for some breakout.
To your point, Stankoven had time on ice of 15 minutes last year, and Jackson Blake 13 minutes and 51 seconds. So you increase that by maybe 2 minutes each, and who knows what they can do.
Right, exactly. And I said, and Blake's was only kind of down maybe towards the back end of last year just because of them getting, was also they clinched so early. They were giving some guys rest and stuff like that too. And, some things happened, but I think give him no more stability this year. Yeah, I can see Blake getting up to 15, 16 minutes and Stankoven gets up to 16, 17. Yeah, I think those guys could definitely get some points. And I mean, even then you're also power play, penalty kill, stuff like that. Those guys will get their minutes. Rod Brindamore does not shelter guys from minutes. He's good. Rod Brindamore will use you. He doesn't care what he'll use you in any type of situation, however your skill set fits. So you'll definitely get your ice time. No one's going to be getting less than 10 minutes. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. So since we went with a positive thing of the breakouts, let's do a negative one. Right? Who's the possible bust for fantasy? Like somebody that's overhyped or overvalued. Who do you think relative to? I don't know. Do you do any fantasy hockey yourself? Okay.
I won one of my leagues last year, so.
All right, there you go. So you're already better than Vince.
Vince is rebuilding in 3 of his leagues, so relax, buddy, okay?
Since 1985. All right. So who would you think is going to be overdrafted? Who do you think is going to go higher than what they should and might disappoint?
Oh, man. See, that's tough because, I mean, if you're looking at – there's a lot of guys on this team – that's the thing with the Hurricanes. They're a very interesting team. I don't see a lot of people like overdraft these guys really too high in their drafts. I mean, you get Aho, Jarvis, Svechnikov earlier, pretty good there. Get Shane Gostisbehere earlier, pretty good there too. I
mean, Gostisbehere was a great draft pick last year.
Oh yeah,
he won people some leagues because of the fact that nobody was expecting him to be power play 1 right off the bat. Mm-hmm. I was expecting power play 2 to start. Right, but he earned that job and he did great. So
led defense in points last year and in goals. And the thing is, this is his second stint with the team. They traded for him back in the 23-24 season from the, unfortunately now no longer with us Arizona Coyotes. So, I mean,
they joined the Atlanta Thrashers and the Nordiques.
yeah, the North Stars and all of them. If there's one guy I would have to pick, maybe Frederik Andersen if someone wants to get a goalie really high. I mean, nothing against Freddie. It's just I don't really know other guys that maybe get drafted in a lot of leagues if it's not the big names out of Carolina. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're looking for goaltending, maybe Freddie is not – maybe you're not your number 1 goalie. But if you're looking for like a good second to have, or maybe – if you're because I usually try to stash a third goalie just in case because not all goalies play on every night and stuff like that, and that's just been my philosophy. Always draft 3 because you just never know. Yeah. So maybe Freddie could be your secret third goalie that you might need on some other nights as well. So I would say don't go too high on Frederik Andersen.
It's a good pick because Freddie Andersen's numbers are generally really, really good. I mean, last year he had a bit of an off year for him, but I'm saying. Usually he has really good numbers, and there's always those people in your leagues that are going to say, this is the year he stays healthy. This is the year. Yeah. And they just reach for him when they should have just waited for him to fall. So I agree with that pick.
I will say, too, though, grain of salt with their numbers last year because their last 2 weeks of the season, they already clinched early, and they were resting a lot of their mainstays. Mm-hmm. So they did go 3-6 to finish the year. So I know his goals against was under 900, and his save was a little bit high. Just take those last couple weeks with a grain of salt just because it was actually good. It's just they weren't really trying per se because they were trying to rest guys for the playoffs.
Well, we know firsthand because your AHL team let us clinch a playoff spot, basically. The Carolina Hurricanes.
Trust me, Jackets fans were not happy about that. But hey, I love the 5th line, but hey, if you want to get in, don't rely on someone else to do it for you.
Exactly.
That's right.
This is the no pity. No, I hate to say it. It's the no pity league. No one's going to feel bad for you.
Yeah. No one's going to. No, that's very true.
Yeah. Very true. So like I said, for you guys, you got it because we were just throwing our guys out there. But yeah, like I said. The numbers don't really speak to what his performance was. He was great before those last couple weeks. But I think Freddie would be a good pick if you're looking for a second goalie.
And see, this is why we have guests. Somebody that would know that is somebody that watches this team very closely, right? Whereas we might not have had the same insight necessarily for the last 2 weeks of the season. So this is great stuff. I love it.
Zach, prospect wise, what is there? I mean, there's not much space on your NHL team right now because all the spaces are pretty much full. But for people who are in dynasty leagues, who are drafting younger players to keep them in the reserves, is there any young players in the Carolina system that you think are going to be a successful story in the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, you can still look at Nikishin as a prospect because he's still in his ELC. Same thing for Jackson Blake. Same thing for Logan Stanko. If you consider those guys prospects in your leagues, wouldn't be upset with those ones. I would say Bradley Nadeau, former Penticton V, Maine Bear, scored 32 goals last season with the Chicago Wolves. Probably one of a few guys that are 18, 19 years old, scoring over 30 goals in their first season. Nadeau would be a good option. I would say Scott Morrow, but he's no longer with the team now. He's a New York Ranger. Oh, jeez.
Nadeau had a few stints with the NHL team last year. What's your observation about Nadeau?
Oh, dude is an absolute stud. Already an NHL level shooting. This kid is going to be. He's going to be absolutely amazing. He's probably their best pure goal scorer in their system right now, and that's saying a lot too when you look at Justin Robitaille, who scores really well. Justin Poirier, who's going over to the NCAA, he's a guy who can shoot the lights out. I know he did it in the QMJHL last year. He did a phenomenal job. But yeah, I mean, Nadeau, this dude's an absolute stud. I'm so excited for when he comes up to Carolina because I think he's just going to shoot the absolute lights out. So I would say keep an eye on him. Dominic Pindica could be someone to look at for the defense, someone who can really go hit that next level as well. Felix Unger-Swarm, you're kind of curious to see how he goes too. So there's another guy to keep an eye on. But if you're looking for instant impacts now, Blake, Stankoven, look at Nikishin. If you're looking somewhere down the road, definitely Nadeau is a guy to keep an eye on for sure.
Definitely a very young team, though, right? You could agree this is not an old team.
No, and they've got
lots of room to grow.
They've got a solid reserve too.
They've placed themselves in a good transition where they won't be. If these young guys progress to what they're supposed to, once the Ahos and they get older, they have the replacements coming up. So they've placed themselves in a very nice situation. Yeah,
well-built team.
I just have a question regarding Nadeau. He's a center, but do you see him being a center in the National Hockey League?
I could definitely see it if the Hurricanes feel like that's a way to go, because I know they are kind of shored up on their center position in terms of guys are on their actual contracts. Because if you look at the Hurricanes now as center depths, you've got Justin Robitaille. They just re-signed Ryan Suzuki, not Nick. Sorry, that's your Suzuki.
You wish Zach.
It's because I'm always thinking of Nick because of the fact that he's in the league for so long, and I figure, that's right, we have Ryan. So Ryan Suzuki, who just re-signed, actually he had a career year. Finally stayed healthy for once, thank goodness. And then you also got Skylar Brandon-Moore. That's kind of it for your centers in terms of Hurricanes under contract. Now, the Wolves can bring in all their own guys and stuff like that. But in terms of the Hurricanes, they have Robitaille, Brandon-Moore, and Suzuki. I could definitely see, if they feel like, okay, we have too many wingers, maybe Bradley Nadeau will be good as a center, maybe because we definitely need a second-line center. At some point, maybe he's that guy down the road. I could definitely see them being like, hey, let's throw Bradley in the center position. He's done it before. Let's give him a shot. I mean, he's a great winger, too. But if they feel like, hey, we have too many up the sides, we want to get him in the lineup, throw him at center. And if there's a team to learn how to be a great center on, I mean, hey, you got Jordan Stahl, who's considered one of the hardest guys to be in the faceoff dot. Also, Jesperi Kotkaniemi has been over 50% in the 4 seasons he's been with Carolina, which I think is a very underrated stat to look at. Because I know it's points, goals, assists, but hey, if you're
there's faceoff leagues,
there you go. There's a guy over 50% every year, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, surprisingly enough. And you can also learn from Rod Brandon-Moore, who's won back-to-back Selkies. So if you're looking for a guy like Bradley Nadeau to learn to be a center, having Stahl there, having Brandon-Moore there, and a sneaky Jesperi Kotkaniemi, he's done it himself, that's a great group to learn from. And Sebastian Aho. The Hurricanes are very good at the faceoff dot. especially with a lot of guys they have and the coaching staff they have in those positions.
Yep.
Well, now for the fun part.
Yeah. Basically, we're going to end the final thoughts here. Like, where do you realistically see this team finishing in the standings? Are we talking about division winners? And, let's just go through the teams in the Metropolitan. We've got the Rangers, the Devils, the Hurricanes, the Blue Jackets, the Islanders,
Philly,
the Penguins, and the Flyers.
Flyers, Pittsburgh, you could remove
Not
them.
overly competitive, I mean, other than the main three. But so are we talking division winners here?
I would say odds-on favorites to win the division because I think New Jersey has gotten better too, but it's just can they bring it all together with their guys staying healthy in terms of can everyone pick it up next year because they very much struggled at home. They were a good road team, but they just couldn't really figure it out. I think that's why they were so far behind in terms of the top two last year for the Hurricanes and the Capitals. Washington. Can they repeat what they did last year? I'm not really sure. I know they were going for to help Ovi out with the goal scoring record. After that, I'm not really sure. The Rangers, yeah, they got Gavrikov, but like have they done really very much of else to get them to the next step? So I would say I feel pretty confident that we're looking at a team that it's going to finish top two. Mm-hmm. Could they win the division? Yeah, I think they really could do it. Could they finish second? Yeah, they could definitely do that as well. So I'm looking at the Hurricanes at least being a top two team in the Metropolitan next year.
Yeah, that's where I see them next year.
Agreed?
Yeah. Agreed.
Home ice for sure in the playoffs. Yeah. All right, the fun one. Do you have a bold prediction for this team this year? A fantasy bold prediction? So let's talk in terms of points. Maybe
Aho hitting 100 points.
Aho, like someone hitting a lot of points, or maybe a player maybe hitting not so many points. I don't know, but like a bold take.
Bold take. Ooh. I'll give you a couple. I will say Seth Jarvis hits 40 goals for the Hurricanes next year.
Wow.
That feels good.
So he hit 32 in 73 games last year. 40 would be really nice.
Yeah. He's hit 33 the last two seasons, and that's with dealing with a shoulder injury they had for a whole season and missing 6 in 7 games last year as well, and playing first, second, and third line minutes. Put him on the top line all year and power play 1 the whole time. I think he could definitely do it. And then, see, because I don't want to copy Junior and say, oh yeah, Sebastian Aho 100 points, lock it in because that's just kind of gave that one. Shane Gostisbehere, 60 points.
Oh.
I think Nick is erect.
You could have said something else. I don't know. Excited, happy.
I actually, because I wanted to remember to say something at the end of the episode.
But you said erect.
That Elliot Friedman said.
Oh, okay.
And on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, his nipples got erect. Anyway.
Oh yes, that's right.
That's how that came up. That's interesting.
I'll give you my full prediction. I have a 40-goal scorer, but it's going to be Svechnikov.
I was going to say the same thing. That would have been a good bold prediction.
I think Svechnikov could hit 40 goals this year.
All right.
That's my bold.
Well,
wow,
Zach, this has been an absolute pleasure.
I just wanted to say that one last tidbit.
Go ahead.
So what Elliot what actually was Frank Saravalli who said before Matt Tkachuk got traded to the Florida Panthers, the Carolina Hurricanes were at the finish line to acquire him. So it was really between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers. So it just tells you how things could have been completely different now.
Oh, absolutely.
That trade gone through. But did you know that?
Like,
I didn't even know they were involved in the trade discussions.
To be honest, yeah, I heard a little bit of a rumbling on stuff like that, but I mean, this league you hear a lot of hearsay for the most part. So I mean, yeah, you could be like, oh yeah, the Hurricanes are really close, but it's like, how close were they?
Yeah.
So like, okay, give me the trade package. What was the package back?
That'll determine how close you were.
Yeah, because you can just say, oh yeah, the Arizona Coyotes were in for Matthew Tkachuk. Okay,
hey, listen.
Give me the package. What was it then?
Next year, the Habs are front runners to sign McDavid. That's the story.
Yeah, right.
Hey, you know what? That's what as believable as the Toronto Maple Leafs actually making it to a conference final.
Yeah.
So,
I love
Yes,
it.
a
I
shot
love
to
it.
Yes,
Toronto
what a
Maple
clip.
Leafs.
That's going to be the most viewed clip of this episode.
Amazing.
all right, I'm gonna have to like turn my notifications
Yeah,
off.
definitely.
Write up my account real quick, because
You know what? We didn't write it, and I know we need to wrap it up soon, but I just wanted to ask you the Rantanen thing. Like, I felt that you guys ended up coming out on top, even after trading for Rantanen and then trading Rantanen away for Stankoven, 2 firsts, plus. Like, I felt you guys made out like bandits at the end of it, even though there was a lot of negative press surrounding the whole thing.
Yeah.
What was your like? What was the fans' reaction? What were you guys feeling at that moment?
Tired. They were feeling tired.
I was getting pretty sick of talking about, because being like reaching out, people like, hey, what's gonna? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I thought he was gonna stay, but then like, okay, apparently he didn't want to stay. Here's the trade. I'm like, all right, cool. Whatever we're gonna get for it, it's fine. They said Logan Stankoven. I'm like, actually, I like this kid. I've known him since I've been watching since his Texas Stars days.
Yeah,
absolutely killed it for Kamloops up there in the Western Hockey League, where everyone talks about the Ontario Hockey League and the QMJHL. Hey, the West, man, they know how to build guys out there. That are maybe not very tall, but they will absolutely beat the crap out of you. So I'm like, all right, Stankoven, great addition. 2 firsts, 2 thirds. I'm like, hey, that's a pretty good haul back, because you can do some with those picks. And they kind of did, because you look at it, they trade back in the draft, get a couple extra picks, get some really good guys that, I mean, they got Rybakov, that a lot of people thought was going to go first round. Great, fantastic. You go trade your first, that's either yours or Dallas's, and a second rounder, and you got to get Keandre Miller. Okay, your defense just got younger, taller, more physical, a guy who got 100 hits, 100 blocks last year. Fantastic. So, I mean, I look at it this way. You basically got Taylor Hall, Logan Stankoven, Keandre Miller, draft picks, and you gave up basically Jack Drury and Martin Necas.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. It's like, okay, you had Mika Ranson for 13 games. Okay, whatever. But you got 3 guys basically in draft capital. And you still have more draft capital for the future, too. So
Agreed.
It didn't work out, but hey, you know what? It worked out in the end, and you're in a lot better spot, and you're able to have more money available to go get other guys, because now you got Nikolai Ehlers at 8.5 instead of Mika Rantanen for 12, who had a flash in the pan for 1 game in the playoffs. So I'd rather take a guy who I can mainly rely on for longer than what are you going to get for $12 million. So I feel pretty good about it.
And Necas was asking for $10.5 million also. So
He's not even sure to stay in Colorado.
yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, I love Marty Necas, but when I didn't even hear about the 10.5. I heard 10 million. I'm like, he's not been consistent enough for 10. If he's asking 10.5, brother, you're great. Gotta give me more consistent. You can't give me 2 really great seasons and then other years of.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing? Yeah,
agreed.
That's a high ask, man. You got to be more consistent to get that 10 million.
Yeah,
Zach, absolutely love this. Thank you very much for coming on. Where can we follow you? Where can we find your work? Tell our listeners what they could do, where they could find you, basically.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can find me at One True Zach on X. That's NOE True Zach. My podcast, one of them is The Surgecast. You can find it pretty much everywhere. Podcast and on YouTube. Locked on Hurricanes is LO_Hurricanes on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, on podcast, Locked on Hurricanes, and then, of course, Locked on Hurricanes on YouTube. So you can just find me there. And go check out all my articles at thehockeywriters.com, where I'm actually entering my 3rd season. Nice. The credentialed, beat writer over there covering the Hurricanes.
Awesome.
So definitely excited about that.
Awesome,
amazing.
Zach.
Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. That gave us a lot of insight.
Really fun.
This is fun.
Hey,
this is fun.
Thanks for the invite. Hey, thanks for the invite, guys. Always happy to talk hockey, and talking fantasy too. Hey, always down to talk pucks. So if you ever need someone, just let me know.
If you need someone to trash talk Toronto, call us. We're in.
Have
a good
night. Take care, Zach. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.